to move on to Frankenweenie, but before I talk about why I love this movie, I really just want to talk about Tim Burton for a second. Tim Burton is one of my favorite filmmakers. I love him for the same reason I love a filmmaker like Guillermo del Toro. He has such a creative and original style of filmmaking that is all his own. But lately, he seems to have just done remake after remake after remake, and a lot of people hate him for this. Personally though, I like most of his remakes. The only two exceptions being Planet of the Apes, which Burton himself admitted was awful, and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, that, while very creative and closer to the book than the original, still wasn't that good as a film in general. But people seem to bitch and bitch more and more every time he does another remake. Why? I understand it's gotten a bit tedious, but when he does a remake, he normally does a good job. With Batman and Batman Returns, he set the bar for comic book films. With Sleepy Hollow, he took one of the most boring novels in history and made it good. And I'm sorry, but his version of Alice in Wonderland is the only one that I'll watch. I do not like the book, and I fucking loathe the Disney movie. They were terrible. They had no story. It was just one chick going from random psychological event to random psychological event. It was fucking retarded. No story, no substance, no good. But Tim Burton actually took Alice in Wonderland and gave it a story. He made it better, and people did nothing but bitch. I'm sorry, but if actually giving something that sucked to begin with actual substance is a bad thing, then I don't want to know what your idea of a good thing is. If you genuinely just didn't care for the movie, then fine, I have nothing against that. But for the people who claimed that with Sleepy Hollow and Alice in Wonderland, Tim Burton destroyed masterpieces? What a fucking joke. But anyway, got my point across there, just let's talk about Frankenweenie. Now this is obviously a remake of Burton's short film from the 1980s, which revolves around a young Victor Frankenstein who brings his dead dog back to life after his dog is hit by a car. Instead of changing his own story, Burton went back and added to it in order to create a feature-length stop-motion film that, like the original, was in black and white, keeping true to the spirit of the short film. When Victor's dog is hit by the car, he brings him back to life just like the original, but Burton adds Victor's classmates as characters who discover what Victor has done and want to bring their own dead pets back to life in order to win an annual science fair. What follows is a throwback to classic monster movies from Frankenstein to The Mummy to Godzilla. It was more than obvious right from the start that Burton's heart was truly in this movie. He hasn't made something this impressive since Big Fish, and he hasn't made something this original since Beetlejuice. As much as I do love a lot of Burton's later films, it was a real treat to see this man go back to his roots, proving to all the doubters out there that he's still got plenty of creativity to spare. Not only is this story made more interesting, but Burton also managed to create some truly fun and original characters in this movie that in some ways homage characters from old school monster flicks. There's this little insane girl in the film that is given premonitions of the future by her cat in the litter box. That was fucking creepy. There are a few Asian kids who act like scientists from old monster movies. This movie was simply a love letter to horror film classics of the past. And what I love about it is just how memorable and heartfelt it is. It's funny, it's heartwarming, it's even very sad at times. The scenes of Victor dealing with Sparky's death are very emotional, and there was one scene of the female dog from next door waiting by the fence for Sparky. That was just depressing, but in the good way. Martin Landau plays a creepy yet very cold teacher who believes that science solves anything and informs us that our hearts must always be in whatever we create if we wish to succeed. Great moral. Burton also manages to bring back some of his Beetlejuice veterans. Winona Ryder plays Elsa, the owner of the dog next door, who seems to have a crush on Victor. Catherine O'Hara even comes back as Victor's mother. In case you don't know who she is, you may remember her as the stepmother in Beetlejuice, the mom from Home Alone, or as Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas. I thought all three of these actors did a fantastic job personally. The action and the monsters of the film all look fantastic. They make the movie. It actually makes me happy that Burton did this as a stop-motion feature. He's able to create monsters on a grand scale, whether it be a Frankenweenie, a mummified hamster, or fucking Turtlezilla.
I need your help. Did you see those things? They were like sea monkeys. You know how on the package They're like in a happy kingdom and everyone's smiling.
Yeah?
They're not like that at all.
Victor, I need your help.
I asked him first.
My problem bigger.
Yeah, he's right.
Now, is there anything in this film I didn't like? Yes, there's actually two things that I didn't really care for. One being the relationship between Victor and Elsa. They pretty much dance around it in a few scenes like something's gonna happen, and nothing does. They didn't really follow through on this, and I thought it was a little cheap. The second thing is a character I mentioned earlier called Edgar Igor. I liked the concept of this character, and I understand what Burton was going for here, but my god, was he an obnoxious little turd. He was memorable, but annoying as fuck. He had the same problem that Justin Hammer had in Iron Man 2. Instead of coming off as slimy and sneaky, he just came off as an obnoxious douchebag that I wanted to kick in the teeth, but that's just my opinion. But in the long run, these are two very minor problems in the grand spectacle that is Frankenweenie. Just all the heart and dedication alone that went into this makes it worth seeing. Frankenweenie is Burton's best film since Big Fish, and it was a treat to see that man go back to his Beetlejuice roots. After all these years, the story of Frankenweenie is a story that has not gotten old. And because of this remake, I'm sure it will live on for many more years to come. Frankenweenie gets a final verdict of 4.5 out of 5 stars. Cool.
Victor, let's go. Hang on.
Mr. Whiskers is trying to tell us something. Did you get that out of the litter box?
Oh my. I need your help.
I asked him first.
My problem bigger.
Yeah, he's right.
Do not bring that trash up in here, motherfucker. This is my house.
Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!